Today, we're diving into Sarvapatri Amavasya. It's the final, and you could say the most important day of ancestral remembrance. But its real power isn't just about the rituals. It's actually rooted in this incredible, ancient legend full of devotion, desire, and destiny.
So here's the big question, right? How can just one single day, one 24-hour period, be enough to satisfy the rights for every single ancestor, even the ones whose passing dates have been completely lost to time? Well, the answer isn't in some rulebook. It's in a story.
And to unravel this whole mystery, we have to journey way back in time, back to a mythical age, to meet the person at the very heart of this legend, a maiden named Akshoda. Our story actually kicks off, not with mortals, but with these super powerful beings called the Pitru Deves. You can think of them as divine ancestors, from these two ancient, primordial lineages, who were so revered they were basically seen as gods themselves.
Now, these divine ancestors, they had a daughter, but, and this is a huge but, not in the usual way. She was what's called a Manaskanya, which means she was born directly from their collective mind, from their shared consciousness. Pretty wild, right?
And this mind-born daughter, her name was Akshoda. She was an ascetic, which means she dedicated her entire life to spiritual practice. And her devotion to her divine fathers, the Pitru Devs, was just off the charts. Absolutely total. So, to please them, Akshoda decides to undertake something called tapasya. This is basically a period of really intense spiritual penance and discipline. And she did this specifically on the new moon day, the Amavasya, in the month of Ashvin, really hoping that her devotion would finally reach them.
And you know what? It worked. Her devotion was so incredibly powerful that the ancestors were pleased. But this is the exact moment where the story takes a huge, dramatic, and fateful turn.
I mean, just picture it. After all this intense spiritual work, she achieves her goal. All of the Pitru Devs, these divine beings she has worshipped her whole life, they literally manifest right there in front of her. It's this incredible moment of success. But right there, in that moment of triumph, everything changes. Out of this whole group of divine beings, her eyes lock onto one in particular, an ancestor who was just exceptionally radiant. His name was Amasu. And in that single instant, you have this massive clash of two totally different worlds. She's so overcome by his radiance that she actually proposes marriage to him. But here's the thing, the ancestral realm is a purely spiritual place. It's completely free from worldly desires like that. Her proposal was a huge violation of its very nature. Well, as you can imagine, the other ancestors were not pleased. Not at all. Their reaction was swift, it was angry, and it came in the form of a curse that would completely alter the course of her life. The consequence for bringing worldly desire into their sacred realm was severe. Akshoda was banished, cast out from the Pitru Lock and cursed to be reborn down on the mortal plane, on Earth. But they did show a little bit of mercy. They didn't just curse her, they also gave her a very specific, prophesied path to get back. First, she would be reborn as a Matsya Kanya, a fish maiden. Then she would marry the great sage Maharishi Parshar. From that union, she would give birth to the legendary Lord Veda Vyas, the one who compiled the Vedas. And only after fulfilling this incredible destiny could she finally be free from the curse and return. Akshoda's path to redemption is an amazing story all on its own. But the real key to our original question about the power of this day, it doesn't lie with her. It lies with the ancestor who did not give in, Amasu. See, while Akshoda stumbled by expressing this worldly desire, Amarusu remained completely firm. He was not swayed one bit. And for this, the other ancestors praised his unwavering celibacy and his incredible fortitude. In fact, Amasu's inner strength was so profound, so respected, that the ancestors gave him the ultimate honor. They declared that this new moon day, this Amavasya, would forever be named after him, so the day itself literally carries his name and his legacy. And that ancient story is the direct origin of this day's power. It explains exactly why Sarvalpatriya Amavasya has such a unique and unparalleled significance for everyone who observes it today. So let's connect the dots. Because the day is named in honor of the virtuous Amasu, it's filled with his blessing. This makes it kind of like a spiritual safety net. It's powerful enough to satisfy ancestors whose passing dates we don't know, and it can also cover any rites that might have been accidentally missed during the previous 2 weeks. It makes sure no ancestor is ever forgotten.
The spiritual power of this day is so concentrated, so potent, that observing this one day is said to grant you the full spiritual merit of observing all 14 of the previous days of Pitru Paksha combined. It really is the all-in-one final act of remembrance.
And that kind of leaves us with one last thing to think about. How does knowing this ancient story, this epic tale of desire, of duty, and of destiny, change the way we look at this timeless tradition? It's a really powerful reminder that behind our most sacred rituals, there's often a deeply moving and, let's face it, a very human story.